Man, oh man, I'm old. 39 years ago since Rotterdam Day, which is why I'm wearing the Champions of Europe jersey. This is the actual final from that day. I was but 13 years of age. In fact, there was a couple of anniversaries. It was the 2-year anniversary since promotion, and look at us now, baby. 2 years since the longest 7 minutes of my life. Also had some outgoings. Very good servants to the club, Neil Taylor, El Mohammadi, Tom Heaton, and also a lot of transfer rumors starting to percolate around Villa Park. But I don't want to talk about the topical stuff. I want to talk about how somebody who didn't grow up in B6, who wasn't born and raised in a 2-bedroom flat on Whitten Lane, became an Aston Villa fan and did all this. There's this saying that a club chooses you. So how did Aston Villa choose me? Well, maybe pour yourself one of these and I'll tell you. Cheers. Now, before I get into how I became an Aston Villa fan, a correction from our FA Youth Cup special. I said Carney Chukwuemeka was poached from Norwich City. It was actually Northampton Town already 6 years ago, so he's proper Villa through and through, really. It was Ruben Shakpoke who was taken from Norwich City. Remember him? 700,000 quid for that transfer. Man, Mark Harrison has been working his contacts and his connections because recently they raided Bristol Rovers for this Kyrie Pierre, who's 15, and this other kid, Bradley Burrows, 13 years of age. So they are really working on youth recruitment. And more good news this week is the development plans for that inner city academy were approved. So it's really good days for the Villa youth system, which will hopefully keep propping up the first team for years to come. So, how and why did Aston Villa come into my life? I'm sure you've heard the story of Tom Hanks, famous Aston Villa fan, and how he became connected with the club. He's shooting a project in London. He's at a hotel. He's flipping around the BBC. All of a sudden, the sports scores come on. Aston Villa 6, Birmingham City 0. And Tom Hanks is like, Aston Villa? Aston Villa? Well, that sounds like a lovely seaside resort. Mine is a little bit more complex, and it's going to take me a while to tell you, so buckle up. It all starts with the name, really. And in North America, there's a very simple formula for club names. City, nickname. Vancouver Whitecaps, Seattle Sounders, Portland Timbers, New York Cosmos, you get the picture. And it isn't that way in English football, which is what I found very refreshing and very different. It wasn't London Arsenal or London Chelsea. And I had this real interest in these 2-word club names, like, for example, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Plymouth Argyle, Leyton Orient. And then there were some really exotic ones with 3 names, Tottenham Hotspur, Brighton and Hove Albion. And that's kind of how this whole thing started. But it actually goes a little deeper than that. It starts in 1978-79 when my dad takes a job at a hotel, which, believe it or not, is called The Villa. And it was a great place. We would go with him to work on Saturdays, stay in the rooms and watch movies, go play hide and seek in the hallways, indoor-outdoor pool, big lunches in the cafeteria. Sometimes we'd go to sporting events after. But I already had this very fond affinity to the word villa because of that hotel and that time. And during that time, an amazing thing happened. The Vancouver Whitecaps won the NASL Soccer Bowl. That's Alan Ball with Ray Lewington behind him, Roy Hodgson's longtime assistant at Crystal Palace. And believe it or not, the village of Vancouver was a bona fide North American champion of something, and we were all bang into football. I started playing, refereeing, playing Subbuteo, and I was seeking it on TV. And lo and behold, on Sundays at 3 o'clock came this show called Big League Soccer with Brian Moore. and I was introduced to the world of English football, the grounds, the muddy pitches, the really noisy supporters singing their songs, and all these interesting clubs. Well, also around this time, a certain Ron Saunders had started to assemble a pretty decent team at Villa Park. So Aston Villa started to appear more on big league soccer, but also in the Division 1 table, it started to climb the rankings a little bit. So when I went to the Sunday paper, I would see Aston Villa in the top half of that table. And are there two words together that are more beautiful than Aston Villa? Maybe free beer or seafood platter. But it wasn't just the name. There was also the colors. And colors are so important. And keeping in mind that I come from North America, where we had a lot of wild color combinations in both the NASL and in the National Hockey League, we were used to really bizarre and sometimes eccentric color combinations. And what I noticed about English football watching big league soccer is there were your red teams, the Liverpools, Uniteds, Arsenals, Forests. You could probably chuck Charlton Athletic in here, of course. Boring to me. Stoke City, too. Then there were your blue teams, always the same. Blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks. Boring. And then you had your white teams, too. You had your Spurs, you had your Derby, you had your Bolton and Fulham, and you could probably throw the striped teams in there as well with Newcastle and Notts County. That didn't interest me. What interested me was the claret and blue. I'd never seen this color combination before anywhere in any sport, and it immediately grabbed me. A circular badge as well, with that little pop of yellow. Together, they just formed this regal, this royal combination that just attracted me like no color combination ever had before. It was hard to explain, but those two things had me just about all the way there. I was interested, I was on the line, but I hadn't been hooked and brought into the boat yet. And just on the colors, I'm sure that the forefathers of Aston Villa that met under a gaslit lamp in the 1870s weren't like the marketers of today who were coming up with some kind of elaborate backstory of the colors like, yes, the claret is derived from a particular brick used in Perry Bar. No, they just said claret and blue looks good together. Let's slap on a pair of white shorts. We're good to go. I always thought that the claret and blue was actually derived from the color of our blood. Claret for the arteries, blue for the veins, and after all, Aston Villa does get into your blood. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it anyway. What took it over the top was the ground, the beautiful, the amazing Villa Park. Sports stadiums in North America looked nothing like this. They were multi-purpose stadiums. I mean, look at that. Football's been played on that patch of grass for well over 150 years. And all four sides were different. The Trinity Road stand was ornate and impressive and massive, it felt, and noisy, of course. As much as the Holt was the heart of the stadium, the Trinity Road stand was the showpiece stand. And I was sad when it was knocked down, but the new one is quite nice too. So when I was a kid, I decided I was going to make my own Villa Park out of Subbuteo parts. This is my parents' bedroom, and this was my first Subbuteo parlor. And here I am, look at that Barnet Fair. I'm leaning on what looks like a Filbert Street grandstand. I took some liberties. And how about the Shoot and Match magazine collage on the wall with Ken McNaught? These were such great times. We actually had a Subbuteo league, 2 divisions of 6. Every day it was Subbuteo, soccer, watching soccer, bang into it. Just happy times. And then in 2014, 2015, I got this wave of nostalgia and decided, you know what? I want to do this again. I want to build an even better Villa Park this time and build a new parlor. And so away I went. It was a 4-month project. I always loved model cars, trains, planes, you name it. This was such a fun exercise and so rewarding at the end, because at the end, I had this huge room that was used for Subbuteo tournaments, a lot of gathering, some spilt beer, and just very, very happy and satisfying times. And for the last year, I wasn't able to do all those things, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing the show with you now. So that's it. That's how Aston Villa grabbed me. The name, the colors, and the ground. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'd love for you to like and subscribe or follow me at either Instagram or on Twitter at holy_Trinity_AV. But most importantly, if you're watching this video and you enjoyed it, and you live in a foreign land, maybe farther than the 7,500 miles away I am from Villa Park, maybe you could comment on how you became an Aston Villa fan or how the club chose you. Thank you so much for watching. Up the mighty Villa, and cheers. Next time, I'm going to do the Holy Trinity on the 3 positions Aston Villa must target in the upcoming transfer window.